to prepare abstract, and then we are going to talk on the communication of achievements of the VODAN project. But before I start, I would like to give the floor for Professor Miriam. Professor Miriam, would you like to give some introduction?
Thank you, Aliyah. Welcome, everybody. Wonderful to see everybody. Thanks, Aliyah, for moderating and for preparations together with Putu and with Professor Sakinat. Very, very much appreciated. There are apologies from Professor Francesca, who had an urgent and very important meeting, but she'll be trying to join us soon. And also Dr. Araya will be joining us soon. He informed me just now. I'd like to welcome the VC. Thank you, VC, for being here. I'll give you the floor in just a moment. I wanted to also welcome everyone, also those that are new. A number of students, master students, are also joining us, as they are also interested to be researching in the context of our work here. That is Yilin and Sarah, and also let me see, Putu, of course, and Patrick Bergman, all from LIAX, and then perhaps Anish as well. So we are getting some new researchers also joining us. VC, let me allow you also to open this seminar.
Thank you so much, Professor Miriam, and good afternoon to all of you wherever you are from Uganda. It's a great pleasure, and I would like to congratulate each one of us. I think this is a big milestone. I know that the suggestions and discussions we are going to have are part of the celebrations we should be enjoying, because this is a byproduct of the efforts of everyone. And the good news, we know that VODAN Africa is fully registered, and the board is functional, and so many other things are happening. But critically, I want to still appreciate our partners, and everyone's role is critical. Do not underestimate your role, and please, let's remain focused so that we can clear even the other targets that we have set. And I thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Then over to you, Aliyah, again.
Yeah, thank you. So let's then start from the first point. I would like to ask everyone, please, can you, as the time, Central European time changed, we have some changes on the webinar time. So I would like to ask everyone, indicate the proper time. I mean, like, would you like to keep this time for the webinar, or would you like to keep the previous time for the webinar? Please indicate it in the chat box, so then we can make a decision on that. So moving forward, I would like to ask you, Professor Miriam, give a presentation on communication of the achievement of the VODAN project. So the floor is yours, Professor Miriam.
Thank you, Aliyah. First of all, we were able today to publish an article in GoFair on the current achievements of the project and of the next objectives. Maybe Putu or someone can put it in the chat. I also distributed it on the WhatsApp channels. If we go to the next slide, Putu. the next slide, yeah. Then here we have set out the different steps that we have been able to do so far. So actually we based the proposition on the work that had been realized by Alia in Kazakhstan on seeing how observational patient data could be used in a fair format. Then as we were challenged by the COVID-19 situation, we started to see how this could be presented as a clear proposition to the stakeholders. And remember, we went to our colleagues in university hospitals, other hospitals and clinics, and then also to the ministries of health or bureaus of health. We then did, I don't know if you remember, but we did the work on the regulatory framework to look at how equivalent the regulatory framework was in relation to the FAIR guidelines, and to make sure that everything that we proposed was compliant with the regulatory framework in place. And with that, we then went to get the approval of all the stakeholders in these locations. And then that was followed by the establishment of 10 FAIR data points, including the LUMC, which all called home. And then the next phase was the data production, the running of the queries over the internet across the FAIR data points. And with that, we completed the first successful proof of concept. So what I would like to propose for discussion today is that I think it's a really very good time for us to go back now to all the stakeholders, particularly also those in the government, the ministries of health, bureaus of health, and to get a formal communication from VODAN to thank them, first of all, for their confidence, because it's quite difficult actually to have that confidence when you do not yet have a proof of concept, and to also inform them about the next steps. So if we go to the next slide, Putu, then here you see how we have moved, and where we would also like to inform our stakeholders that for now we have done a proof of concept that involves 6 countries in Africa, different locations in Asia, and LUMC in the Netherlands. That also means that we have changed our name to VODAN Africa and Asia. If we go to the next slide. That means that in terms of the data production, this is really our focus for the next program, and where Alia herself, Getu, Mariam and others, Putu, have a critical role to play in really doing the development of the tools that will allow the diversification of the production of the data to really be solidly integrated within the data reporting tasks in the clinics and hospitals. So we want to really make sure that these tools are adaptable to the hospitals and clinics where we will be working on the verification of the data. And then going to the next slide. And this is all of us, but then also with the extension to Asia. And perhaps, Putu, would it be possible to also show the newly proposed logo that has been produced by Professor Francesca and her team? Is on the top of that article that I sent around from the Go Fair. I can perhaps put it here in the chat. And then it's also possible to see the logo. Oh yeah, Obina has put it already. Maybe Obina, would it be possible to show the logo on the here for everybody? Obina or Putu?
Okay, I'll put the logo right now.
Thank you, Obina.
Oh, okay.
I appreciate. Yeah, here is the logo. So the first question, and if you can also indicate this in the chat, is and really thanking the KIU team. They came up with some really beautiful logos, and in this article you can see that we used actually two. There is the one in blue and yellow, and then down next to the map, you see the other logo that was also proposed in the kind of the traditional colors of FAIR. So if you have any favorite logo, then let us know in the chat so that that can also be taken into account as we go forward on deciding on the final logo. So with this, we have the new look, which includes Asia. And my question to you all is, and perhaps the VC and Reginald, Dr. Reginald, Dr. Araya, Dr. Sakinat can also help me out here. But it is my sense that we should send a formal letter by the VC as the chair of VODAN Africa and Asia, and together with this article and possibly making use of this PowerPoint, a formal letter that then is sent by the coordinators of the country leads to the stakeholders in each of our participating countries. That is my proposal. Are you in agreement to that? VC, would you like to speak to this as well?
Thank you so much, Miriam. Definitely two points. The first one, I want to thank the team for designing the logo. And I would probably go with the one that has the O, which shows this dangerous virus thing. But the colors also look nice. And so that we are consistent, and so we can have that. The second issue regards the communication. I think the communication will be fantastic because, you know, the various ministries of health and maybe even the ones that are coming on board will require this update, and it's really a formal letter or write-up that would update the responsible ministries that this is the progress this far, plus something that is prospective. When you read through the document, it's very clear, and the next steps. It also strengthens the network in a way that it demonstrates how so many countries, so many partners are really on board, and a cause for everybody to support. So I'm in favor of that, but other members may have different opinions.
Thank you, VC. Dr. Araya, Dr. Reginald. May I call on you? Dr. Sakinat? Reginald says, yes, we need a letter for the MOH. Dr. Araya?
Yeah, hello, Miriam. Hello, everyone.
Araya.
Yeah, the logo, all the ideas are really good, and it's good also to, as it has been said, bringing all the stakeholders on board as we move forward would be crucial. So one thing that I was wondering, looking into the future, I see VODAN we will also include aspects of data science or our work beyond the COVID. So will we keep like the COVID situation or the name, even the issue of virus in the name?
Yeah,
so
actually,
how are
Professor
we
Miriam, in addition to what he has, oh, sorry.
Yeah. So what I was saying is maybe how are we going to to consider, or how do we think whether the name truly reflect as we move forward, we will include issues of maternal and newborn health and other aspects of the health system. So if there is any thought in that regard, would be nice, or we can discuss it in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Raya. Visi?
I was saying that I was thinking aloud as well, because what if we also get some other part of the world, and so we add VODAN, Africa and Asia, and it may be continuous. We might have to think as VODAN, Africa, Asia evolves about whether it goes global. I mean, or intercontinental or whatever. So we may think about that, but as far as registration is concerned, that is sorted out. But I think Araya has a very prospective comment, which we should be thinking about. It may not be resolved in this meeting, but we can choose a few people who can brainstorm and look at its application. Thank you.
Thank you both. The way in which I see it is that we have already anticipated on that, in the sense that we have VODAN as the breaking point for our proof of concept. But what we have established now is the GoFair Data Competence Center. So I would say that the GoFair Data Competence Center allows us to do two things. One is to expand the competency across all health data, as Dr. Raya suggests, and also the GoFair Data Competence Center will allow us to integrate research data from our universities as fair, and which will require a slightly different data production than on the observational patient data. So if you agree with that way forward, then perhaps we could ask the KIU team of Obina to extend to VODAN Africa and Asia the logo that then identifies the GoFair Data Competence Center. And then the question that is still open is that continental, is that cross-continental, is that per university? That is something that perhaps we can reflect on and then come back to next week. VC, how do you feel about this?
This is perfect. I think being strategic is a very good thing, but the originality of VODAN, I think, will remain. But when we are expanding our responsibilities, we can always move around, because there's nothing about it remaining just for COVID-19. There are many other issues, especially once the FDPs become very effective and the increase in number, and we are actually having live visitation of data according to the FAIR principles, then it will be inevitable. Things will fall into place. So I think this is okay. The name has a history, and I think we can see how it is. But in terms of the logo, we should have a prospect maybe in the next 5 years to have this global approach to it.
And if I see what has happened in the collaboration between VODAN and LUMC, is that it is kind of seen as a data competence center collaboration. So we can just adopt GoFair Data Competence Center, and then we can have different iterations of that. We can have the GoFair Data Competence Center Africa, where it concerns that, but we can also then have the GoFair Data Competence Center of a university, which then really has that functionality to that university. I think that should be possible. So that means just that we need to have some further discussions with the GoFair office. Bet is here, so we'll continue those conversations, and that perhaps we would ask Abina to make a flexible thing where different countries can be added depending on the level of competence center that is related to particular task sets. I think something like that can work. Thank you. Yes.
This is Francisca. I'm in another meeting, like I told you, with my vice chancellor in Nigeria. For the logo, I just want to acknowledge Oluwole, who designed the logo actually. And we have different variants of the VODAN Africa and Asia, and we have decided to go for this. So I'll work with him to make sure that we have something flexible. And if you need more clarifications, I will have to come to you and the VC. But I just want to add this on, in addition to what you said, that the VODAN, the GoCare VODAN is the umbrella body which we have joined, and we formed the Africa Implementation Network. Now, VODAN is not just about COVID-19, but about virus outbreaks in general. And it's something that we are not praying for, but it's something that is likely to happen again. It may not be coronavirus now, it could be some other health emergency that will affect Africa and some other parts of the world. So we already have that platform. Then forming the Data Competence Center gives us the opportunity to do much more. And that's why we're now talking about maternal health. We have PhD candidates in different areas. Our major focus is on stress, but GoCare is already a trademark that is taken. So for me, I think when we have new partnerships that will need to admit into the network outside of Africa and Asia, fine, we can start looking at how to absorb them or assimilate them into our system if need be. Otherwise, I think we're good as we are for now, so long as we all have it at the back of our minds and continue to remind ourselves that we're actually beyond the virus outbreak or the COVID-19 alone. Even at this point, we have already even done much more, and we have different kinds of data in the FDCs that are actually even outside of the observational patient data. Yeah, that's my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francesca. I think this is all in good order. Let me just ask Dr. Araya if he also agrees with this solution from VODAN towards Data Competence Center with different levels of identifying competence centers depending on the particular job at hand. Araya?
Yeah, thank you for the explanation, and I agree. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you for raising that point. That was much appreciated, Araya.
Hello.
Somebody?
Yes.
This is Wondimu. Hi. How are you? Just, yeah, I think Dr. Araya raised a very important point. So I think the effect of COVID-19 might continue for coming 5 or 10 years, but it would be good to mention maybe VODAN and beyond, COVID and beyond. I think if we add beyond work, then it can be inclusive.
Thank you, Wondimu. We'll make sure that the proposed communication will be reflective of this discussion. And so, can I conclude this section of the meeting then that we will ask Professor Francesca to send a draft letter that can be co-signed by the VC if you so wish, but that is of course for every coordinator to decide, and that then the coordinators determine which stakeholders they will send the letter to. And of course it will be a letter that you can adapt to what makes sense in your environments. Is that fine? Reginald,
yes,
Sakina,
it's fine, absolutely.
yeah,
Yes, it's fine.
Raya, Wondimu, yes? All right. Then that will be it. Sorry, Aliyah, for going over time. Perhaps in order to make sure that things are done correctly, it will be better, Alia, to first go through the presentation of Professor Sakinat and then leave the remaining of the information on the special issue for the remaining time, because Professor Sakinat has spent time in making sure that this preparation was done very well.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Miriam, for this presentation. And I would like to give now the floor for Professor Sakinat in order to explain how to prepare good abstract. So, Professor Sakinat, the floor is yours. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Alia. Now, let me ask, I don't think Hadi has the slide that I want to use. Can I share mine?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Okay,
I give you the co-host, like the.
Okay. Okay. Can you see my slides?
Yes, we can see it.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you, Professor Miriam. I'll just quickly run through this slide. The slide with that Alia is presenting is also very important. You know, I spent the whole of the night joining or merging the abstract, the slides together. So I'll just quickly run through this. This is just like a summary or trying to remind us of what we should do. Now, writing a good abstract. An abstract is a summary of your research work and is the major component of the article that you are writing. It's just like our F in the fair, like it makes your article findable when we search for your article or when you're searching for a journal to publish your article. So the major component of an abstract, whether it be an extended abstract or a precise abstract, one has an introduction. The introduction could be a sentence or two, then your methodology, your results, and the conclusion. So the things to be in the introduction, the study introduction, what are you trying to do? The knowledge gap you're trying to bridge, the knowledge state, and what aim. Actually, when you're writing a research paper or a research article, you have one aim, then you can have several objectives to achieve your aim. So in your abstract, you could put the objectives or you could leave it out and put the objectives in the body of the work. Then for methodology, the main thing you talk about the methodology, you talk about your data, if you are working with data. So what type of data are you using? We can have different types of data, like you can have an image, you can have an audio, you can have a text, you can have a time series data, you know, you even have a graph as a data. Then you talk about your variable and your source of data. It is very, very important. Then the analytical approach that you took. Sometimes it could be a literature review. You are trying to review or also your knowledge contribution, what your method is contributing. You could have, you could bring up a new method or you could pitch two methods together. Then when you talk about results that you put, so what are your major findings or what domain metrics did you use to measure your results, or what did you find, and what answer did you reach for your research study? The conclusion also is also part of an abstract. So for a conclusion, just tell us the significance of your study and the implication of your work. Then we also talk about keyword, which is also very important. The keyword, for which keyword you can have one word or you can have a phrase. So just like F in your fair, also the keyword also project your article, makes your article findable, and is also an indicator to your article. So we advise that we have between 4 to 6 important keywords, just like for the special issue we are preparing now. We should be seeing words like fair, like verification, data stewardship, and so on, like that. So these are just some of the explanations that I made. I'm just making it clearer, like you identify your purpose. Why are you writing the research? why did you decide to do this kind of work? You could have done something else then, or how did you conduct your research? And you also explain the problem. What problem are you trying to solve? What are you addressing in your work? So just like I said earlier, that we advise that when you are writing your article, you focus on one aim and you can have several objectives to achieve your aim. So also describe your results, that what did you find? What answer did your research question, what did it answer? Were you able to meet up all of your objectives? Then we also just quickly describe the abstract types based on the abstract that were submitted. You could have a descriptive abstract, just like a literature review, which explain your purpose, goals, and the method. Or you could have an informative abstract, which is the descriptive plus results and conclusion. This shows us that not all abstracts we have a result. And we advise that our abstract, based on what we have seen in the journal that we are proposing to use, the abstract ranges from between 150 to 500 words, so or 150 to 250 words. But we advise that your abstract shouldn't be more than 500 words. That's the limit. Then, and is limited to a page if you are writing a precise abstract, or if you are writing an extended abstract. So an extended abstract could be anything from between 2 and 4 pages. It shouldn't be more than that. But I'm sure that Professor Miriam will clarify this for us as soon as I'm done. Then some of the don'ts in the abstracts, you should avoid direct acronym unless you're sure that the audience that you are projecting, you understand the acronym. Then you use real information and data. So don't assume that a data could be this, a data could be that, because different data, even if you analyze them on the same model, they give different results. So you should use a real life data for your work. Then you avoid being too specific, because being too specific, you avoid many specific jargons, many domain jargons that can confuse people when they are reading your abstract. So then there are so many links that I have here that that were provided for the special issue, like the link to upload your abstract, you have it here. Then the link to the special issue instructions, all instructions that were given, and all the articles topic, they are here. Then we also have the sample journal articles that were graciously given to us by Professor Miriam. So this is the link to it. You could also go through the journals. They are from the article. They are the articles from the journal we are proposing. You could go there. You could look at the article. You could look at the way they write, and also address strictly to the template of the journal. Then to the GAIC tutorials that could also be of help to us. The links are here in the article. Then I also want to say that VODAN Nigeria, that they had a data article published. This data intelligence article journal that we are proposing, they also have a data article section where they publish your data article. Now, the Nigerian VODAN, that we also published our COVID-19 data that we submitted for VODAN Africa, and it has been published by Data in Brief, Elsevier Journal, and the framework is actually born out of the initiative when we were struggling to get data for Nigeria. And the key members that were involved were myself, Ezekiel from DSN, and Professor Francisca. So this is the link to the article. The article is actually, the data article is in press now. So, and it's also good for COVID-19 because they're actually COVID-19 data from Nigeria. Then with bookkeeping, now we have, as at 3 a.m. GMT time, we have 12 articles published, uploaded to the link that were generated. So, and these are the article numbers that were generated. We also encourage, because our goal, our aim is to see that all the 27 articles, topics that were proposed, that we actually get them published in the journal. So we encourage those that have not submitted, that we still look forward to them submitting their article. I also want to thank you for your time. Thank you so much. I will send this link to Aliyah to put it in the chat room. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Sakinat, for this wonderful presentation. I think it will be very helpful for all of us. So I will send the links to the chat, to the all channels. Let's continue with the next part of this webinar. So Putu, if you can turn on the slides. So the next part of the presentation is going to be about special issue information, what is the current state of the art regarding the abstracts and its proposals. So up until now, so can you move on, please? Yeah, so the timetable for the publishing of special issue is as provided here. So we are already past the second milestone, or so it's like 25th of October. So the abstracts were submitted, but we are still expecting the other abstracts. So up until now, we have received 12 out of 27 abstracts. So the main goal here is to submit abstracts as soon as possible. And then the next target is going to be the selection of abstracts and communication to authors on their abstracts. And then we have 4th of December, which is going to be discussion of abstracts on FAIR Convergence conference. And the next point is going to be in January, the first draft of article, and then review of those articles, and communication to all of authors, article authors. So the next point is going to be on 28th of February, so the second draft submission. And in March, it's going to be communication to all authors and the editing the final final version of articles, and then publishing of articles in April 2021. That is the main timeline. So I hope that we can still keep this timeline and publish our special issue by April 2021. Can you proceed, Putu? Yeah, so this is the current state of the art. We have 12 abstract, as I mentioned before, out of 27, so it's 44% of the total work. And the main goal is here, submit abstract as soon as possible, and we are expecting to all of authors submit them. So, and now, can you proceed to the next slide, please? So, this is actually the introduction part. So, launching an international FAIR data network for COVID data. There is a list of authors who is willing to participate, or which is proposed by us. If you have still any updates, please let us know. And the link for the article itself is provided below. So I would like to ask if anyone from the list of authors would like to say something on their approach. Professor Miriam Weinreis and Professor Francesca.
I am responsible for this one, Aliyah. Thank you. So this is one of the articles that doesn't have an abstract yet. The purpose here is to really bring together the whole collection and to present the special issue. So the reason that we haven't done the abstract yet is that we were actually looking at what was coming in. But we'll make sure that we also present an abstract so that you know what you're working with, Aliyah. Thank you.
Thank you, Miriam. All right, and then let's move to the next slide. So the next slide is, the next section is state of the art in fair deployment under COVID-19. There are 5 articles under this section. So the article number 2 is proof of concept and horizons and horizons on deployment of FAIR in the COVID-19 pandemic. So as authors suggested Mariam Basaja and Marek Suchanek. So any of authors would like to speak and say something on this approach, please go ahead. As I know, this abstract for this article was already submitted.
Aliyah, I don't know if Mariam is speaking to this,
yes,
but I know
I'm actually here. So do you want me to talk about it?
Yeah, if you can just talk about the approach and just like give short explanation, please.
Okay, so basically this article will be covering 3 sections. Just 1 second. Okay, so it will be covering 3 sections: the proof of concept, and the VODAN in a box deployment, so it will just basically go into detail of how the data points are deployed on premise. That will be the first part, and then the second part will cover the proof of concept, which we carried out not too long ago, and then the final section will be on the future steps and call to action.
Yeah, thank you, Mariam. Thank you. Thanks a lot for this explanation. And I see that in the chat box, Teshom wants to participate in this article. So if you'd like to participate, there is link for the article. It will be sent after this webinar ends, and any authors who can contribute to the article can put their names and also put their updates and contribute to the article. Thank you very much. So can you proceed on to the next slide, Puto, please? Yeah, so the third article is coverage and reliability of data on COVID-19. So as you see, the list of authors are provided here, and the abstract for this article wasn't submitted yet. So I would like to ask any from the list of authors to speak, to say something about this approach and to give short information about the abstract, how is that going on, and what is the current state of the art of this the article and abstract itself.
Wandimo is here. Wandimo can speak to this.
Okay. Wandimo, do you want to tell something?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Just what we have just already, if you see the submitted abstract. Just we are thinking to make it not only one country, just in order to make, to include more African countries, just look, the coverage based on proxy indicator like by age and also place of resident like urban and rural. Some of the proxy indicator variable is there, and the data quality is in terms of WHO data quality assessment technique. So it needs some collection of data, but I don't know. I think it need to discuss further how to, what kind of procedure we should employ in order to make the approach is consistent across a country. I believe this will be very important output, because one of the challenge is, during the pandemic, data come from different sources. It's not well organized. Maybe it play a crucial role for the future prevention and control of possible any outbreak.
Yeah, thank you very much, Wondimo, for this explanation. Okay, let's move further to the next article. So the next article is going to be the article number 4, VODAN in a box, a semantic data model for the WHO ECRF and data capture tools. And so we have the list of authors over here, and as I'm going to check, so the abstract has been submitted to this article. So anyone from anyone from the list of authors would like to say something on this article or abstract?
Perhaps Getu, this article has been proposed by the authors who are in here, Alia, but I don't know if Getu has been looking at this. Getu?
Getu, would you like to say something?
Hello, Alia. Actually, I haven't seen the submitted article.
All right.
But maybe I will try to look at it and come back to you next week.
All right, sure. Yeah. So let's move further on. So article number 5, which is also Putu, can you proceed? Yes. Which is article number 5, fair implementation in geographies and domains. As I know, up until now, the abstract hasn't been submitted yet. So
Patrick can speak to that. Patrick is here.
So yeah, okay. Patrick, would you like to speak on this article and abstract, please?
Yeah, sure. I'm currently doing my master thesis about FAIR and its adaptation, and also how it is adopted worldwide. And I think this article could be complementary to that, in a sense to determine where, in which countries FAIR is already adopted by analyzing the papers that cited the original FAIR paper when FAIR was introduced, and in which domains it is published, all those articles. And I think this could be an addition to that.
Very good. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you for your input. The article number 6. So it's going to be the section number 2, which is on fair equivalency, regulatory frameworks, and adoption potential of fair data in health. So the article number 6 is fair equivalency with regulatory frameworks in Uganda. So the list of authors is currently right now Mariam Basaja and Professor Francesca. So would you like to tell us something on this, Mariam or Professor Francesca?
Yes, I can speak to this. The general objective of this study will mainly be to assess the governance framework regarding the digital health, e-health policy in Uganda, and basically try to analyze and find whether the FAIR principles are actually mentioned or FAIR-like principles. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mariam, for your input. As you mentioned, the abstract was already submitted for this article. Thank you for that, and we will move further. So article number 7 is fair equivalency with SATU data Indonesia. So the abstract was already submitted for this article, and I would like to ask Pu to say something about this article. Putu, can you?
Yeah. Basically, same with fair equivalency in Uganda, like Mariam told before. But because we have our own Satu Data principle, so I should check I should compare Satu Data Indonesia and also FAIR, and then check the fair equivalency in digital health framework. So FAIR can works in Indonesia through Satu Data Indonesia.
Thank you very much, Putu. And yeah, abstract was submitted, so we will move further on. Article number 8. Putu, so I see the article number 8, regulatory frameworks and the fair compliance with health policy in Ethiopia. So the abstract hasn't been submitted yet, so I would like to after any
maybe just Ephraim is working on it, so we will share you soon. Already he has collected so many the strategies related to this fair data, and will come to us very soon. So already he's communicated and he's working on this assignment.
All right, Wandimir, thank you for your input. Yeah, we would like to have the abstract as soon as possible, please. Thank you very much. So moving to the next article. So article number 9, which is going to be on verification of COVID-19 data across Niger State with the effects of lockdown for future policy developments. The abstract was submitted for this article. I would like to ask authors to say something on this approach, if you would like to.
Hello.
Yes, Ibrahim.
Good afternoon, all.
Hear you. Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, we're trying to see the effect of lockdown as it affects the spread and control of COVID in Niger State. So we're going to issue some questionnaires and also have some interviews, and after which we will analyze the data, and it will be a policy document for future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibrahim, for your input. Moving to the next article, article 9, number 10, health information streams in clinics, the case of Uganda. The abstract was also submitted for this article. Mariam, do you want to tell us anything regarding this approach? Mariam?
Yes. So basically, the overall of this study is to understand the data management practices and information systems used at different healthcare facilities, hospitals, clinics in Uganda. And so emphasis is put on documenting the tools that are used, the data that is collected at every step along the patient's journey timeline from the moment they arrive at the hospital to the moment they leave. And so that's basically what this article will cover.
Thank you, Mariam. Yes, thank you for your input. We would like to move further on for the article number 11. The article number 11, compliance of fair observational patient data in Zimbabwe. So I see that the abstract hasn't been submitted yet for this article. So I would like to any of this of the authors for this article to say something on this approach, and also tell us something about the abstract. How is that going on?
The representative of the Zimbabwe team is here. That is Hetjan. Maybe Hetjan will speak to this if he wishes.
Greetings from Zimbabwe, indeed. Yes, I'm actually not completely sure what the status of this is, but I can imagine what they are about to do. So I will check this up after the meeting.
Hetjan, just as a clarification, this is a proposed article. So basically it's our proposal to the team. So we really actually need to hear back from the team, and of course they can give it, they can change the title, they can change the content. Anything is up to the team, of course, like anywhere else.
That's fine, and this team is capable of doing that.
Thank you, Hetjan.
Thank you. So let's move further on. So this article actually is going to be done by me. So fair adoption potential for digital healthcare in Kazakhstan. So as an author, I'm going to focus on like the regulatory frameworks, technical readiness of healthcare in Kazakhstan, and policy readiness of Kazakhstan within the healthcare of Kazakhstan for adoption and deployment of FAIR. That's probably it. And the abstract for this article was also submitted by me. I guess we would move further on. So article number 13, fair adoption potential for connected health data in China. I'm not sure if Minhu is here. Professor Miriam.
No, I have to actually contact Mingyu to ask her. She did a very interesting master thesis, so she has in fact done she has the material. I just need to take time to contact her. I'll do that, Aliyah.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Can you proceed on the next slide, Putu? Thank you. Article number 14. Actually, it's going to be on freedom to operate and the convergence of tools. And this is going to be under section number 3, semantic interoperability, data science analytics, and the curricular development. So we don't have the list of authors, but if anyone else would like to contribute to this article, please let us know. You can reach out to us through the email, or you can use this link to put any.
Sorry to interrupt, but Bet is working on this and he's on the call. He might want to speak to this.
All right, all right. Bert, can you hear?
Yes, I can hear you. And yes, we have been in contact, but we have not heard anything about this yet. So I will follow this up also at a later stage.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Bert. So let's move on. Article number 16. Putu? Yeah, so article number 16 is going to be expansion to publication of non-patient COVID data. The abstract was submitted for this article. So Mariam, do you want to say something about this article?
Well, thank you, Alia. Effectively, the purpose of this article is to describe the process of verification of data related to migrants according to the schema adopted by the GoFair. So we will describe in details the different steps of this process when we apply it to our specific data, which are specific data not related to patient. And then we will try to discuss the constraint encountered during this process verification when we apply it for data hosted in Tunisia. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariam. Thank you very much for your input. So I'm not, Putu, can you move backward for the article number 15? Yes, I think we skipped this article. So article number 15, beyond ECRF, requirements for implementation in regular health systems. We already have received the abstract for this article. Thank you very much. And anyone from the authors would like to say something on this approach? Dr. Araya? Thank you.
Hello, Alea. I think Dr. Reginald and Wondumu, they have drafted and we commented on the draft abstract, and that is submitted. But there are comments that are forwarded by members of this article. So we will work on the comments given. But if Dr. Reginald is here, he can reflect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Araya. Dr. Reginald, are you here? I think I've seen the message from Dr. Reginald that he is not able to continue this meeting. So we will move further on. Article number 17. Yeah, curricular development for fair data science. So Professor Francisca, are you here? Professor Francisca, are you here to speak, to say something on this approach? Or Getu, maybe would you like to say something?
Yeah, Alia. Actually, I'm not sure if Professor Francisca or you, Alia, have drafted an article, but the three of us were discussing about curriculum for the NIFIC project. Me and Alia have drafted computer science level 1 and level 2 curriculum, and we have been discussing about the fair data science curriculum. So maybe me and Alia will try to write an abstract based on our discussion.
Thank you very much, Geto. So we will move further. Article number 18. So it's going to be Nigeria COVID-19 fair data analytics. with machine learning models. Dr. Sakinat, would you like to say something about this article?
Yes, thank you, Alia. The idea or the approach we plan to take is one, we will take two approach. One, we obtain data, Nigerian COVID-19 data, though not clinical, but there are some other mobility factors that are associated with COVID-19. So, and the data is part of the data that was published, the data article. So we made it fair. And the essence of making it fair is for the data to be reusable. So, and that means that data science, analytics, algorithms can visit our data. So we plan on using clustering algorithm on the health services and economic and social COVID-19 data from Nigeria. We plan to analyze using machine learning models. That is two clustering models. Then we also plan to build a forecast model. We forecast into the future of the COVID-19 data or COVID-19 presently happening. Then we can also reuse our model for future pandemic. Thank you. We have submitted our abstract.
Very nice. Yes. For your input. So we would move further on. Article number 19, COVID-19 and the new potential for distance learning. So as I see, the abstract for this article was already submitted. Anyone from the authors would like to say something on this approach?
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, my name is Akindele Akinka. We've submitted the abstract on it. The abstract is basically looking at the new and the emerging tools that has enabled distance learning to be able to have new potentials, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic. It look at the instructional design models, the new tools, especially when we are looking at things like virtual reality, augmented reality, and new tools like Zoom, the learning management systems, and some other technologies that has made distance learning to become popular and potentials to reach millions of people at the same time using approaches like blended learning and some other things. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Akindele, for your input. And as we see, the abstract was already submitted for this article. And article number 20, it's going to be artificial intelligence, qualified competence without comprehension of essence. As I know the Herjam is here, would you like to say something about this approach?
Yes, very much so. Together with Stanislaus Birgimana from Burundi, we are working actually, sorry, we didn't set the abstract yet because we worked straight on the paper, thought that to be ready. So we were quite far. We critique artificial intelligence basically because of its reductive understanding of human intelligence. So we would like, well, we have written on the mechanical worldview that is the basis for natural sciences, and then bring in the cybernetic view of the expanded intelligence of artificial understanding of intelligence by the feedback loops. But we would like, we argue that artificial intelligence needs also to include emotions and evaluative and pragmatic aspects, because in the area we work with VODAN, we very much work in dynamic integrative epistemologies instead of the normative ones. And therefore we have to include purpose and what is considered a success in artificial intelligence. And thus we link it with culture, and hope in the paper to show that international collaboration needs these kind of inputs also to augment the understanding of artificial intelligence and thus give new directions for exploration.
Thank you very much for this input, Herjan. We would like to see the abstract for this article as well. Thank you very much. So article number 21. So it's going to be data science as a new field for employment. And as I see, the abstract hasn't been submitted for this article. And anyone from afters would like to say something on this approach? Mohammed, Kinfe, or Dr. Araya, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, hello, Ale. Yeah. Yeah, last week I didn't had enough time to look into all the list of the articles, but yesterday I was looking into the articles with good focus. So personally, I find this section 4, the articles that focus on the Sustainable Development Goals, in line to my interest. I would be very happy to contribute in this section. That's why I added my name. But there were some clear, issues that were unclear for me. I mean, for instance, for this data science as a new field for employment, do we need data, like collected data, or should this article a kind of commentary or kind of desk review? So I was wondering how these articles were initially selected or considered as possible articles. I would be very happy to hear the initial thoughts for selecting these articles. And second, probably from my experience, it might be good to select a lead author for each article so that the lead author will contribute the others, will coordinate the others instead of giving the responsibility to all and asking all members to contribute. Probably, yeah, the members may not share what kind of role they might take. Some of us, we may need to contribute as co-authors. Some of us may want to lead the paper. So probably it might be good to ask any interested member who can serve as a lead author and coordinator to the others. Thank you.
Aliyah, if I can interject. Araya, I think that Dr. Kinfa has quite a lot of data on in terms of their ARC project, looking at youth employment, which includes new areas. So I think maybe this article can work with the outcomes of the ARC project. And with regards to the other regional aspects in the NUFIC program on employment, there is a coordinator across all the countries. So I can get you in touch with him. That might be the most useful. And in terms of the lead authors, the idea is that every article authors group decides who is their coordinating person. It's not us who can do it. It's also not Aliyah who can do it. So in this case, if, for instance, on this article, you feel that you would be the first author and take the initiative, then you just move your name to the front and you see who your contributing authors will be. There have been a lot of suggestions in the chat of a lot of people who would like to contribute to the different articles. So I think that Professor Sakinat and the team can make an analysis and then in that way also distribute that information. But it needs to be done by the author teams, the decision on who coordinates.
Thank you, Professor Miriam. So let's move further. Article number 22, enhanced collaboration in health services for underserved communities. So the abstract for this article hasn't submitted yet. So I would like to ask article authors to say anything on this. Yes,
on this one, I can say something, Aliyah, that Martin Oranje was interested to do this article, but not as a lead author exactly. So I don't know whether Akindele or Araya have further information.
So I would like to ask Akindele or Dr. Arai, do you have any suggestions or inputs for this article?
Yeah, thank you very much. Akindele here.
Yeah.
I have actually drafted an abstract and I shared it with Martin Horange. I'm still waiting for response, but till now, I have not received any response from him. Wow. So the abstract is still work in progress. So once the other collaborators respond and chip in their inputs, then we are going to submit the final copy to the editors.
And
yeah,
you could
hello,
already put,
sorry.
you go.
Yeah, I mean, I added my name yesterday, and Akindele, if you share me, I would be very happy to contribute because my background is public health, and yeah, I work health system
Okay,
and
I
health
think I'll
policy
do that.
related.
I'll go through if I can get your email, I'll share it with you this evening so that we can communicate via mail.
Okay, I will text you. Good.
Thank you.
And if it is useful, we have done this on the Google Sheets so that in fact you can work on the Google Sheets so that even if Martin is not responding, then we can already, as we are reviewing the abstract, even if it's not perfect, it is fine. Nobody should worry about, oh, is it good enough or not? We are all in this together. So if you do it in the Google documents, then we can also from time to time look and give suggestions if that is if that could be helpful. On this one also, I think that you can remove Martin Oranje as first, but put him as last author.
Okay, all right, Professor Miriam. So thank you very much. And article number 23, possibilities to enhance digital health interoperability through FAIR. So the abstract for this article has been submitted. So, but I would like to ask authors to say anything on this approach. Mariam, would you like to say something? Or
yeah, so basically this article will oh, sorry. This article will basically go into like, let me say, okay, the disease, the article will examine the FAIR principles and how interoperable the different digital health systems, how interoperable these digital health systems are. And I'll do this together with Akindele. And he sent me his abstract yesterday. So we've kind of like been working around combining the two. So I think even in the Google Docs, I will edit some bits of it, maybe like before end of the week. And then we'll have the final abstract.
Okay, thank you very much.
If I may add to that. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been working with Ms. Miriam, and we will find a way to sync both our abstracts together. We are looking at ways by which we come up with a kind of framework that will allow medical devices, the way at which they export and store their data, to come out in ways that is going to be interoperable, in which models and devices from different companies that are used to generate digital health data can find a way to come up together. So we both sync our work together and we've submitted the final abstracts. So,
thank you very much, Akindele, and thank you very
Yeah.
much for your input.
Hello, Ale. Yeah, maybe Mariam and Akindele, I'm not sure whether you have seen my note on the Google Doc on the draft abstract already posted there. So I was wondering if this article could be a kind of multi-country, or at least the case of Uganda and Ethiopia, because my team at Maqala University, I have added also Samson's name because I know we both of us, we work together on the e-health architecture and interoperability for the Ethiopian health system. So I was wondering if we can document the experience, the challenges in both countries, and if it can be like a case of Uganda and Ethiopia or a kind of multi-country. But I was wondering what kind of data you were thinking for this paper. If it is a kind of original data, maybe it could be difficult. But if it is like desk review, I think that was a suggested approach. But we would be very happy also to reflect on Ethiopians' digital health interoperability challenge, and also in line to FAIR. Maybe Getu can also contribute because he's a thank you.
Yes, that is actually very, very brilliant. This was actually the initial idea for this article. And so all countries, people from all countries are very welcome to join in this article. And just simply add your names, and then
Yes, thank you, Mariam, and thank you, Dr. Araya and Akindele. So I think this is very good idea to have like various countries on like to see how that can be can work from different perspectives and in the different contexts. Thank you very much. And we were going to move to the number 24 article, the window of opportunity for FAIR and challenges for implementations. The abstract hasn't been submitted yet. Professor Miriam, do you have anything to add to this approach?
Is Misha here? Because he is this is basically his research.
No, Misha is not here. He sent me a message that he can't join this webinar.
Then I can speak to it. He did a he did an internship with GoFair, and he looked at the way in which VODAN emerged as a window of opportunity from the history of GoFair. Can I ask everybody to mute their mics if you're not speaking, because there's a lot of noise. Thank you. And so this article builds on that historic analysis of agenda setting of FAIR, which was very successfully done and then emerged in VODAN and everything that, well, has been achieved in these last months. So this is a policy analysis.
Thank you very much, Professor Miriam. And we are going to move further on. Article number 25. Puto. Yes, leadership for collaboration on value creation in the commons across the globe. And as I checked, the abstract wasn't there. So anyone from the list of authors would like to speak to it?
I think Dr. Reginald, he's been very engaged on this one.
Okay, Dr. Reginald, I think he's not here because
I've read it. So this is an article of the implementation in Pumwani Hospital, and it deals with the role of the Philips Foundation in terms of the startup that we as VODAN have done, and on the results of that in a informal settlement, very poor informal settlement in Pumwani, which was one of the hospitals where they've introduced FAIR data. So it's they've done already a lot of work on this article. So I'm sure it will be coming, Alia.
Yes, sure. Thank you very much, Professor Miriam. And we are moving to the article number 26, data security and safety, horizons for the personal health train. And the article was has been submitted for this, abstract was submitted for this article. And I would like to ask authors to speak on this approach if anyone from the list of authors is here.
This is the work of the group on data access and security. I think it needs to include Getu and Samson, the three names of the three leads on the collaboration with LUMC on data access and control. Getu, can you speak to this, please?
Hello, Professor. Yeah, last time in our meeting with LUMC team, we have selected topics that we have to work on. One of them is access and security. So as I remember, I was selected as one of the members. However, we have changed it to me to be replaced by Samson. So Samson and Putu will participate on this issue.
Yeah, that is correct, Putu.
Thank you very much. And the last article.
Sorry. Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Yes. I would like to, and I was thinking about, this. I think it would be good to modify somewhat because, at the end of the day, if we are going to implement fair data point in every country, it would be very important, to provide some information about the data security and also ethics. So in this regard, I think it would be good to include in the Article 26. It would be include, country lead from every country, or each country should participate in this article. This would create, good opportunity to convince, the prospective manager or decision maker in order to implement, fair data point in respective countries. Because one of the challenge that may we encounter from each country will be, the data security and ethics context. So that would be good if we address those all issues in this article, and then we will be in the safe side to easily, penetrate to the decision maker for implementation of fair data point.
Thank you very much, Wundimo. Professor Miriam, what do you think about adding other country leads for this article number 26? Can you suggest anything?
Wundimo speaking on article 26 or 25? Just for clarification.
Yes, 26 about data ethics, security, and ethics about fair data point. While we are going to implement fair data point, one of the questions which come from respective countries, how we ensure the security, data security, as well as the ethics, because both has to be addressed in this article, and then this will be used, as evidence to convince respective country management and also policymaker. Always they raise this issue while we are thinking, because I remember when we introduced the fair data point in our hospital, the first question that come from the hospital management is how we can ensure the data quality, the data security and ethics. So if we do have this thing, I think it would be good. This more focus on the review of, what country, for example, in Ethiopia, what kind of data sharing ethics is there, how this is compatible with fair data point. So I think it's more like, reviewing of detailed country context.
Yeah, I think that is what this article is doing. So on the one hand, on the regulatory framework, we have all the articles on the fair equivalency with the governance in place. But here it is very much on the data access and control and data protection. So I think that it will be very good to have as many countries as possible involved in the authorship here. And that is also sort of the point of that collaboration there of Eric Fleckenshield and his team, and Putu and Samson. So Wondimo and anyone else, if you can engage with this article or propose a colleague to engage with that, it very much going through explaining the technical control and security of the data, that would be very, very good. I'm actually not sure whether Barent will be on this article, but for sure it is that collaboration of VODAN, Africa, Asia, and LUMC. Wondimo, yes.
Thank you very much, Professor Miriam, for your input. So we are moving further for the last article, number 27. So it's going to be contribution of fair interoperability to research on COVID-19. We haven't received abstract for this article, but
yeah, the purpose here is to look at the contribution of fair data to the virologists. So Maria Jasdambak, she is a virologist, and so it would be very much related to the work of Wondimo. In all of our universities, we have virologists, and this, what we are doing, should in the end help them make better analysis if we speak strictly about COVID. So this article deals with that. What is the ultimate benefit for the virologists who are studying COVID-19? So any names could be added to this from any of the universities.
Thank you, Professor Miriam. With this regard, we reached the end of this presentation. Thank you for your attention. I know it's already time to finish our webinar, and thank you, Professor Miriam. Do you have anything to add, or can I close the webinar?
No, let me just ask if, I mean, this was, I think, was a very good way of seeing all the content. There is a lot of information here in the chat, which I think can be put together and then circulated among all of the authors groups. There is space for new articles if you still have ideas, so then let us know. And I believe that we can start the review of the abstracts and start giving comments so that we can move to the next phase of the production of the articles. I think it was a very successful session. The presentation of everybody was very inspiring. It looks like it's going to be a very good special issue. I don't know if Feng Hong at this point, I don't know whether she's still there, if she still wants to comment on what she has heard. Feng Hong, are you still there?
I think she's not there.
She's left. So and I would like to thank Professor Sakinat for that really amazing introduction that helped us to get a lot of clarity on what constitutes a good abstract. It is fine if it is a short abstract. If you have already an extended abstract from anything between 1 to 4 pages, we can also work with that. So there's a flexibility in how we move forward. And Aliyah, how would you like you or Professor Sakinat people to communicate to you when they want to be added onto articles? How would you best see that?
I would say the Google Sheet is already fine, and we also every time I check it and see the list of new authors. So, or anyone who will have any questions can contact me directly through Gmail. So that is fine.
Maybe you put your Gmail in the chat so that everybody can find it easily.
Yes, sure.
Anybody else would like to make any last comment before we close? Then I would like to thank everybody. Thank you for a long seminar. And I haven't looked at the chat yet what we do with the time for next week. Aliyah, Sakinat, what do you think? Are we changing the time back to before, or are we moving? What is your sense?
Well, I have seen 3 or 4 messages, and only one is saying that the previous one is better. The rest were fine with the new time.
Okay, so then the proposal is to stay on the new time.
And
All
Professor Sakinat is raising her hands. Can I ask you to unmute, Professor Sakinat? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm sorry, the network has been erratic for some time now, going on and off. So I'm sorry to draw you back. It was just on the last article that Professor Miriam was talking about on the analysis and interoperable of COVID-19 data. And I don't know if how I can get in touch with the name there, but you know, my major is data analysis, analytics in every way. So, and I'll be sure I'm be happy to work on the topic with the author there, or otherwise I'll add my name to it and get on with it. Then just one more thing that I would like to clarify from Professor Miriam, or make clarifications to the House, is that one, Professor Miriam was very emphatic on not just putting your name on a topic, but you really have to contribute well to the topic. Maybe we should share author's credit. Who can be an author on a paper or on an article? Maybe we should share that to the forum. That's number one. Number two, the abstract. Professor Miriam said we should start reviewing the abstract, but I can see that majority of the abstracts submitted were written in different formats. We have a one-page abstract, we have two-page abstract format, we have 3, we have 4. Now we want to, just for Professor Miriam to clarify to us in the House, how we should go about this. Should we stick to the one-page abstract format, or take a format, just to let us know what format we should take before we proceed to review? Thank you.
Sakinat, I think just any format at this moment is just really fine. The thing with the Google Sheets is that people can already start working, like for instance, the group of Dr. Reginald and that whole team with the many authors, they've already done a lot of work. So if we are reviewing what is there and people have done more, why not look at more? So to me, I think that we should just be free and let everybody, I trust that everybody will do their complete best to make the articles as good as possible. But we will, like you did very, very well in your presentation, once the stage of the abstract is over, then we will give very clear guidelines on how to develop the article. But that will be the next stage. At this moment, I think everybody is just really trying to see what is a question that I can contribute to, what data do I have, how would I develop the arguments, and how would this fit within this special issue? So at the moment, I feel that we are in the creative phase and that we should just give as much space to everybody to make sure that they can contribute. In terms of the authors, the criteria that I would use is that anybody who does actually contribute something of substance can be mentioned as an author, and that it is actually good to have a larger number if there is that possibility of a larger contribution, and that also gives weight to the article. But of course, in some instances, if this is really your work and you present it as a single author, that can also be the case. I hope that gives enough clarity.
Yes, ma. Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
Thank you. Okay, then I wish you all well. Some of you will see back at the PhD seminar on Thursday. Others will see next week. Thanks for all of the work that has been done, and looking forward to reading all the abstracts. Thanks again. Thanks, Aliyah, for moderating this seminar, and thanks also to Putu for helping with the preparation, and for Professor Sakinat for assisting in all of that. Thank you for now, and have a very good week.
Thank you, everyone, for joining.